YouTube, welcome back. Thank you guys for coming back to Rhino Reacts. We've got a special reaction today. It's actually overdue. This actually occurred before I started this reaction channel. As you guys know here a while back, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It's a really good video, really good reaction to the father-daughter duo, Matt and Savannah. And I tell you the story of my wife and I going to South Carolina to see them at their concert. And we were taking photos of the venue, and it just so happened Matt and Savannah walked down the street by us, and we stopped them and they talked to us for a little bit, and we took a photo with them. It was awesome. It was really awesome. And if you see the title of who we're reacting to today, his name is Russell Dickerson. Big time country music artist. I've never done country on this channel. I have no idea why, honestly. I've been down so many rabbit holes with so many artists that Russell Dickerson is kind of near and dear to my wife and my heart, actually my family's heart. This is his song Bones, but I have an interesting story about Russell Dickerson as well. This was before I started this reaction channel, actually about a month prior to starting it at the end of last year in October. In September of last year, we went on a Disney cruise, and the Disney cruise was to Alaska. Alaska was our 50th state. That was the last state that we haven't been to yet, and we haven't marked it off our map. So we decided to take an Alaskan Disney cruise to go see the final state. So here's the wild story about it. We're on this Disney cruise. We're at dinner one night. I'm sitting here, my wife's sitting to my right. Both my kids are sitting in front of us at dinner, and I look over to the right, and there's this nice family next to us, and it was kind of odd. I have this sense about people. You can just tell sometimes if it's there for you to pick up on. If you miss it, you miss it. For me, I was sitting there and I kept looking at the family to our right. There was a family to our left. They weren't conversating with anybody, which is fine, whatever. And off to our right, there was another family, a man and his wife and two kids. And the guy was, I kept looking at the wife because she was facing me, and she had on this plaid dress shirt, you know, like a country dress shirt, and she had on like a cowboy type, not a cowboy hat, but a hat that mentioned cowboys printed on it. And I looked over at her husband, who's sitting beside my wife, and he had his arm run down the side of the table between himself and my wife. And I could tell at that time by his arm, he was a pretty tall guy. He was a big guy, but he looked very familiar. And there were some things that tipped me off. He had on what looked like one of the newer iWatches, one of the big ones, one of the Max ones that was massive. I haven't seen one till that time. At that point in time, he was wearing it. Had a wild looking red design in the background. It looked wicked. And I'm like, man, that's a nice watch, because I'm a watch guy. Then I noticed rings and jewelry on his hands, and I noticed bracelets, and I thought artists or musicians typically wear jewelry like that. And he just so happened, he had his arm out, and one of their sons was screaming at the top of it. He was just screaming at random times. And the guy leans over and looks back at my wife, and he said, "I'm sorry. I don't know why he's doing that, but he just randomly screams." And when I heard him speak, I was like, well, this dude's from the South. It's very rare to run into somebody on a cruise ship that's from the South, especially a Disney Alaskan cruise ship. And I thought, who is this guy? He has to be somebody. The way he's dressed, non-name brand clothes, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You just get this feeling. You get this aura. I leaned over to my wife and I was like, honey, I don't know who he is, but I bet you money he's a country music artist. A big one at that. She's like, oh gosh, here we go. Here we go with this. I'm like, listen to me. Just listen to me out. He's wearing, rings like he plays guitar, or that he's in music. He's wearing, the bracelets. It just has that look about him. I'm telling you, there's something up. I'm just going to ask the guy, because what's the worst the guy could do? Chew me out for asking who he was? I didn't have any bad intent there. So I leaned over and I'm like, excuse me, are you a musician or a country music artist? And he looks at his wife and she looks at him, and they both start laughing. I make the comment, I don't know. I'm getting like Kip Moore vibes. Well, when I said Kip Moore, his wife hysterically starts laughing. Kip Moore, are you kidding me? He's like 5'0" nothing. And I just kind of looked at him and I thought, wow, you said that like you know him personally. They just continue kind of trying to stay to themselves about it, no, this, that, and the other. I can't remember what she called me. She kept calling me Mr. something. You're just not Mr. Intuition, but Mr. something. I can't remember what it was. I had my finger on something, and I was pretty sure that he was a country music artist, but I didn't know his name at the time. And they laughed it off, and it just so happened, while we're having this conversation, the tables ain't been like this far apart, and while we're having this conversation, my daughter, who is in front of me, lifts her phone and picks her phone up. And by this time, we're starting to get up from dinner, and his wife sees my daughter get her phone out, and she goes, no, I'll just save you the trouble. It's Russell Dickerson. And I was like, holy crap. You gotta be kidding me. First of all, I just called Russell Dickerson. I just told him he gave me Kip Moore vibes. My bad. Then this dude stands up, and this dude is tall. He's a big dude. Super big dude. Super big dude. And so his wife, Kaylee, she introduces herself to us, shakes our hand, asks us how we are. Like hadn't even had that whole conversation. Asks us how we're doing. And then Russell reaches over and shakes all of our hands. My kids, my wife, mine, asks us how we are. It was nice to meet us, so on and so forth. We were standing up to leave dinner, and I'm like, is there any way we can get a selfie with you? Because the folks back in North Carolina is not going to believe we had dinner next to Russell Dickerson. And so there we are, on the Disney cruise ship, in the dining hall at the restaurant. He stands, as you can see, he's a very tall dude, tall youngin'. And it was so good to actually meet him, his wife, both of his kids, which are super adorable. It turned out that we ended up having dinner next to them the last night we were there, and we had some more discussions, talked about golf, different things. I wouldn't say got to know them, but became very cordial with them. They were awesome to hang around. His wife, we were talking about, this was our 50th state, because this was the last state to visit, and it just so happened him and Kaylee's, this was their last state to see as well. That made it their 50th as well. So we got to see the 50th state on the same ship as Russell Dickerson. I know that's not saying much, he's just on the same boat we are, but we did get to meet him. No one else, or at least no one that I know of, recognized him, and it would be my intuition that picked up on that, which was absolutely crazy. My wife thought I was crazy till he actually said who he was, and she was like, oh my gosh, you were actually right on this one. And it was so good to meet him in person. And I hope, Russell, Kaylee, I hope you get to see this. They asked us toward the end of this cruise, they were like, hey, what are you guys doing after this? Because the boat was coming back to Vancouver. I said, well, we're going back to Vancouver and driving 10 hours east into Canada, over to Banff, Canada. And they're like, well, what does your itinerary look like for that trip? Because we're headed the same way, we have concerts, and you guys could join us. And we were like, well, the pace we're going to be going in a car compared to y'all with tour buses, we're going to be days ahead of you. It was funny, some of the places we went there after, like some of those lakes, they ended up stopping by there and seeing them as well. We saw on their socials. It was so good to meet them. That is why I'm going to react to the song Bones by Russell Dickerson. I'm pretty sure that in this song, his wife Kaylee's in it with him, and he's talking about their relationship and their love. So we're going to react to it. Looking forward to this, guys. Thank you for checking it out. Awesome story to go along with this one. I know, what are the odds? But here we go.
Chestnut hair and still blue eyes, a light up the room kind of smile. It's more than when you know you know. Yeah, girl, I felt it in my bones. I asked your name, we talked all night. Blinked and 2 years flew right by. Down on one knee praying you won't say no. You're shaking right down to my bones, saying I love you to the stars above you ain't shining in the sky no more. As long as I'm living, baby, I ain't quitting. That's a love you can bet your life on. Yeah, I love you till I'm 6 feet down in the ground, and the gold on my fingers wrapped around nothing but bones.
I had dinner beside him. Sorry. It just, dude, his voice is impeccable. I love his voice. The lyrics of this song are so deep. And if you ever had the chance to meet Kaylee, oh my gosh, she is such a down-to-earth, nice, super nice, congenial lady. She is so nice, such a sweetheart. You can tell she's from the South. You can tell he's from the South, just like me. And they're just great people. And that's her in the video with him.
There's some things I'll never understand. How's an angel wind up with just a man? You're a halo and a heart of gold. Yeah, baby, I'm just flesh and bones. Saying I love you till the stars above you ain't shining in the sky no more. As long as I'm living, baby, I ain't quitting. That's a love you can bet your life on. Yeah, I love you till I'm 6 feet down in the ground, and the gold on my fingers wrapped around nothing but till the good Lord calls me home. Long as I'm breathing, you'll be all I'm needing, baby. Carving in my headstone. I'll love you till I'm 6 feet down in the ground, and I'm gold on my fingers wrapped around nothing but bones. Yeah, nothing but
Such a good song, man. Such a good song. It's funny, he says that gold wrapped around your finger, even when it's nothing but bones. And you can see right there, the gold wedding band, right? It's so good. It's such good stuff. It's hard not to smile thinking about those guys because even their kids were so adorable. They were fun to be around. They seemed like a good group of people, really genuine, big-hearted folks. I hope, Russell, you and Kaylee, I hope you guys get to see this someday. I'm going to try to reach out to some of the folks in your crew and email them and send them this with the story attached, hoping someday maybe you'll get to see it and enjoy it yourselves. My wife and I are looking, we're going to try to get out and come see you guys and see a show. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This is our first touch in on country. Excellent lyrics, excellent sound, beautiful voice, awesome video. Couldn't ask for a better heartfelt video. And yeah, that's Russell Dickerson, Bones. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Rhino Reacts. We'll see you on the next one.